Hello, in this video, I'll show you how to set up SQL data source inside the SharpShooter Reports Designer and create a report without using Visual Studio. I'll also show you how to create data and group it using Report Designer. First of all, let's run the Report Designer. It's a standalone application which is located in the bin folder of the SharpShooter Reports or SharpShooter Collection Installation directory. It is located in Program Files Perpetuum Software. The next folder can vary depending on the product you have installed. It can be SharpShooter Reports or SharpShooter Collection. Now I run the Report Designer. As I already mentioned, I will work with the Report Designer only and will not touch Visual Studio at all. Let's create a new report. It will be a C# report. Now we need to add a data source. We introduced a new document tab in version 6.4. It contains the most frequently used document settings. You can find the data sources item there. Let's add one. We implemented predefined forms for MS SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, and Microsoft ODBC. MS SQL, XML, and ODBC are available by default. However, you need to install the corresponding .NET connectors and add the references to your project to make MySQL and Oracle available in your application. I will use Microsoft SQL Server in our demonstration. Let's select it. Now I can select a server name from the list and type it manually as I will do. You can use SQL Server Authentication or Windows Authentication. I will use Windows Authentication. And let me select the database. It will be our beloved AdventureWorks we all know well, I hope. This is a SQL-based data source, and it is based on the results of the SQL query. Let's fill the query. I think it is the most complicated part for non-engineers. Let's find some appropriate data to show. I have AdventureWorks database open in my SQL Server Management Studio. I open the sales store with addresses table. It contains information about the stores with names, addresses, cities, countries, and so on. Okay, let me copy the name of this view and enter the SQL query. Select all fields from, paste the table name. It's enough. Now we have a data source. I will name it in an appropriate way. Let's start with Report Design. Open the Insert tab and add some bands. Bands are the structure parts forming the report. Let's add Data Band. Data band is the main band of the report, and it is used to show the data from the data source. We need to bind it with the data source. AdventureWorks. And it's enough. Let's add containers for a header and body of the table. Add a header and a detail section inside the data band. Header is used for displaying header of the tables, as you may guess. Detail band is used to display text fields and other controls for each row in the data set. Let's add some data. Go to the Data Source tab. Find AdventureWorks, open it. You can see all available fields of the data set here. Let's drag the name field. Address line 1. We will not use the second line to simplify the report. Then we will show a city, and country region. No, country region will be the last one, and state province. You can see that I placed all the data to the detail band. Now I need to add a header. I'll just draw a text box. I will place some plain text here. The first one is name. Next is address. city, state, oops, state. I drag and drop holding Control key so the fields are copied. And finally, country. Now I can preview the report and see what we've already designed. It's rendering. Okay, you see a report. It's not visually appealing yet, but shows all the data we need. Let's add some styles in a quick way. There are several predefined styles provided with the component. You can see them in the list. I prefer something simple like gray. Okay, you see that all the items were styled automatically. And finally, I'll make the fields left aligned. Let's see how the report looks now. Yes, now it's much prettier. Now I'd like to group the report by the country. We need to insert a group band and move the header and details into this group band. I will do it using the document tree. It's the most convenient way to organize report parts. I see a group band, I move the header here, and I move the details. Now it looks a little messy. Let me lay it out automatically. This flag allows automatic layout of the elements in the report. Let's make the details band a little tighter and move the text upward to save some space. Okay, let's lay out the bands once again. Before we render the report, we need to enter the group expression in the group band. In our case, we need to set country field as a group expression. Let's find country region name and drag it to the left. You can see that the corresponding expression was created automatically. Press OK. So the data should be grouped using this expression. The records which have the same results on this expression will belong to the same group. Let's render the report once again. You see header for Canada, header for United States, and so on. Now, let's place some additional information to the header. For example, we will show the country name there. Let's make the header wider and free some space for another line. Let's move the country text box to the header. You can see that the style has been automatically applied to this text box. Okay, it's here. Now let's make the style of the text box different. Header 2, for example. We don't need the country field in the header anymore. And one more time, let's see what we get. Render the report once again. We see the country name in the header of each section: Canada, United States, Germany, and so on. Now let's group the data by the country and state. Go to the properties of the group band, select Group Expression field, and change it. We add state, province, name, data, and unite the data by a comma and space. Let's copy this expression. I will use it later. Now the data is grouped by this expression. As you can see, it is constructed using two fields from the database. Let's change the data we show in the header to the same expression. Quite complicated. Let's have a look at the report once again. You can see that the header shows exactly what we have. You can see that the items are mixed, so states of United States intersperse with Australia and France. So I need to add some sorting to the report. It's quite easy. Select Group Band and paste our expression that is still in the clipboard to the Sort Expression field. Then, set the Sort Order field. If we left Keep Original, the sorting will not be applied. Let's run the report one more time. You see that Australia is first, followed by Canada, etc. And finally, let's locate each group on a separate page. It may be useful when we print the report and pass its parts to different departments, for example. Let's select a header and set the new page before property to true. Let's have a look at the report once again. You see that the page is broken after the first group, the second group begins on the next page, and so on. It is all what I wanted to show you in this tutorial. Let's save the report template in RST format and name it Grouped Report. So we prepared a report template which we can use in different projects, move from one computer to another, or add the existing application dynamically because we didn't rely on any runtime data. We can do it because all data sources are stored inside this report. And since version 6.4 is much easier using built-in forms for database setting up. That's all for now. Today we learned how to set up SQL data source inside the SharpShooter Reports Designer and create a report without using Visual Studio, how to group data and sort them based on custom expressions. Thank you for your attention. Stay tuned.